Shares of Krispy Kreme donuts up 24% on the news that the company is being taken private by JAB Beach in a deal worth $1.35 billion, $21 a share. And North Carolina native Taylor Muckerman, when you look at how the stock is trading within, I think, 6 cents of that $21 mark, that tells me there's a lot of confidence that this is all but delivered.
Yeah, I would assume in this JAB, they're kind of trying to turn themselves into a Starbucks almost. They've Pete's Coffee, Caribou Coffee, I think Keurig we talked about
Einstein
at the end of
Bagels.
last year. Einstein Bagels, now Krispy Kreme. So as a Starbucks shareholder, I'm kind of like, well, what the heck's going on here? They're kind of, turning themselves into a one-stop shop food and coffee vendor. So I think it's probably a good move for them. Very international in terms of the spread out of their business. 73%, I think, in terms of store count resides outside of the United States, with great expectations for double-digit growth moving forward. So I think they've seen great results from their franchisee model, and they're starting to, I think, emphasize that a little bit more rather than the store-owned. So it's interesting, much cheaper than the Keurig acquisition, which I think was $13 billion. So German company focusing on international coffee. And, I looked at their presentation from Krispy Kreme, and it really fits. I mean, they're trying to accelerate attachment by making coffee part of their cultural DNA. So they're trying to be much more than just donuts.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of businesses out there that are really pursuing that breakfast opportunity. I mean, it's Yum Brands, it's Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, certainly.
Burger King bought Tim Hortons.
Exactly. I mean, you see this is pretty much falls in line with this. I mean, I think this gives Krispy Kreme probably the best opportunity to grow in sort of a profitable and meaningful way, because it makes them part of something bigger where they can realize efficiencies in the supply chain there, probably get far better distribution, and probably better leadership, really, expertise in this industry. You mentioned Starbucks, and it strikes me still, even to this day. And I'm a Starbucks guy, I love it, but they've just gotten so far without ever getting the food part right.
Yeah,
it's still not there. And at that La Boulange acquisition, I think we thought would do that, and it really hasn't. I think had any kind of a material effect. So you see this between Einstein Bagels and Krispy Kreme donuts and coffee at the Yin Yang. I mean, there's a really a big opportunity there to grow that sort of presence on a very, very global scale. They paid up for this acquisition, which is interesting. I mean, they paid more than 40 times trailing earnings for what has not been a very good investment story for investors, so to speak. So I think they see a lot of missed opportunity there, and maybe something that they can really turn around. Yeah,
this Krispy Kreme donuts, not the greatest run in terms of public companies, and absolutely one of those stocks that, depending on when you bought it, there were certainly times where you could have bought Krispy Kreme donut shares and done quite well with
single digit range,
but not over an extended period of time.
No.
And I think it was maybe 15 years ago they had some accounting irregularities of their own, or if not accounting irregularities, there was something going on there where the stock went from like 40 to 10.
Yeah, it was accounting issues.
Yeah, so
holes in more than just the donuts over there.
Exactly.
At Krispy Kreme.
But it does seem like it's probably better off as a private company.
I think so.
But I don't know. I saw one thing online where someone was trying to, and this goes a little bit to what you were saying earlier, Taylor. Someone was trying to make this out as a victory for Dunkin Brands, and I just thought, no, not really, because it's not. Krispy Kreme donuts is going away.
That's right.
They're closing up shop. No, they're just going private. And as we've certainly seen that with Dell. We've seen that with a bunch of other companies where you go private, you get the ship right, and in some ways you become a tougher competitor.
Different funding options, more flexibility. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with Dunkin Brands, I was on Sunday, which was Mother's Day, so I woke up early and went and got my better half some donuts for breakfast.
Because nothing says Happy Mother's Day like a bunch of donuts.
Of course.
Exactly.
It was what she wanted. But I went to Dunkin' Donuts because that's the closest place to our house. And I mean, I'm going to tell you what, man, the thing that I I'm watching this closely with Dunkin Brands. Is these stores now, their menus are becoming, I mean, very, very involved. They are offering all sorts of different options now, from sandwiches to donuts and everything in between. So the components of that menu, the ingredients that make up that menu, are getting more and more convoluted. I think more and more difficult to manage. So I mean, from an investor's perspective, that's a concern I would actually have with Dunkin' Donuts, and perhaps with Krispy Kreme, we'll see a sole focus on more really doing what they do well, right? Which is donuts. That's what it's always been. I'm a little nervous about Dunkin' trying to really branch out into all of these other options, because I just wonder how that's going to affect ultimately the in-store experience, the supply chain management, et cetera, from an investor's perspective.
Let's ask McDonald's how an expanded menu works
Sure.
out.
Yeah, you've seen it go both ways. I mean, we've seen that story play out before.
Yeah, they're turning the ship around, trying to retreat from how many menu options they're providing.
Well, we've got this new Dunkin' Donuts across the street from our office.
Really? Oh, is that where you got that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where you can find me pretty much every day. But I've noticed the exact same thing as you, just in terms of how many options are in the menu. But to this point, I've been impressed with the throughput there. That there's a line at times, but they move it through pretty quickly. Because that was one of my first thoughts when I walked in there. I was like, wow, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to get everyone in and out of here with all of these different items. But so far, they seem to be doing a pretty good job.